What's up, gamers? My name is Athena, and welcome to part 2 of the series I'm doing on a tutorial series on DiceCloud version 1, the character sheet builder for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. If you haven't watched the first part of this series, I recommend you go watch it because it is an overview video of what the character sheet looks like and what each of the functions are, and an overview of the site in general. We're basically going to just jump straight in and make a character from scratch just to show you how to do it. And if you haven't watched the overview, it might be just a little confusing about what I'm doing. It is optional, you don't have to, but I recommend it. So we're going to start the second part of the tutorial by doing the background and the ability scores, the base ability scores for the character we are going to create. We're going to make a 5th level character, and a character that has spellcasting, so that you can see how all of those things are going to get sorted out. But for this video, we're just going to focus on the background. This is what I like to do whenever I make characters. I always start with the background first. I will choose then the species or race, and then I do the class stuff last. Just to sort of give you the most bang for your buck, because your background gives you skills, sometimes your race gives you skills, and sometimes your class gives you skills. So if you're the kind of person that likes to have as many skills as you can, this is the method that I find works best for that. So to start with, we're going to go to the right side of DiceCloud. As a reminder, we're using version 1. It should say V1 in the URL. We're going to go to the right side, or left side, I'm sorry, and click on characters. It's going to pop open this screen. This is where all of your characters will show up. We're going to click on the plus in the bottom right corner, and it's going to give us a menu. You can see we've got new party, new character, restore from backup. We're going to click new character. This is the field that's going to pop up. Input the basics of your character, but don't worry, you can always change these values later. We're going to put in the details, name, gender, and race for our character. I already have all 3 of those things picked out. So for the name, we're going to call her Bubbles. Gender will be female. And race, we are going to make a fairy. Once you've filled in those things, you're going to click add. If you don't have any of this stuff picked out ahead of time, that's okay. You can just key smash and then continue on and then change those things later. But I went ahead and I put together a checklist of what I wanted to do for this character just to make my life easier and this tutorial more cohesive. So we're going to click add. Alright. And so this is what the character sheet, a fresh D&D DiceCloud character sheet, will look like when you first pop it open. It's going to have all of these tabs that we talked about in the first video. It is going to have hit points are not, visible because we don't have any of that stuff assigned yet. The same goes for the ability scores and such, as well as the initiative is not set because this character currently does not have any levels. We will go ahead and add in the level that we need. We will add in our first level of Warlock to begin with, but then we're not going to touch that until part 4 of this series. So to do that, we're going to tab over to the Journal tab, and you can see it says level 0. It says Fairy here. We're going to click on that plus button. It's going to pop up this thing. It's going to say new class and the class name, level, whatever. It's got buttons in it, and we don't care about those right now. All we care about is I'm just going to put Warlock here. You can either click outside of the window or click the check mark to complete editing this box. Either way, it's going to, or you could click this thing here. Either way, it's going to close out the box. So we've got that. And if we look over in stats, you can see it has not updated yet. Oh no, it has. The proficiency bonus has updated. My bad. If we look over in stats, nothing has changed except the proficiency bonus. So next we're going to do base ability scores. We're just going to go ahead and set those up. So by default, DiceCloud comes with this container with your character sheet. If you click on it, you can see there are several effects already set up, and all of them are set to a base value of 10. We are going to be editing those. I am going to roll up I'm just going to roll up a quick array using a bot I have in a Discord server. And we're going to use those numbers. But you can do anything you want. If you use point by, you can always use a point by calculator to calculate your base ability scores and go from there and put those numbers into the value fields where you need to. You can put in standard array. You can put in roll 3d6 for each score, roll 4d6, keep the highest 3. That's what I like to do. You can roll a d20 down the line, or any sort of variant down the line to make your character sheet, your ability scores. For this one, I'm just going to roll my normal 4d6, keep the highest 3 for each score, and my god, that is an abysmal array. I got a 12, a 14, a 9, a 7, a 16, and an 8. Abysmal, but we'll go with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these things in there. We're doing a warlock, so I am going to put my charisma as a 16. I'm getting ahead of myself. So to edit, you're going to click this button up here, and then each of these effects has a pencil. You're going to click on that. On this version, you're not going to change anything here, and you're not going to change anything here. You're just going to scroll up to the value field and change the number in the value field. Okay, you're not going to change anything else. For me personally, I'm going to want, start with charisma. I'm going to put my 16 in there. And then I'm going to put 14 in constitution. A 9 in dexterity. I'm going to put the 12 in intelligence. Actually, I lied. I'm going to put the 7 in intelligence. I'm going to put the 12 in wisdom. And the 8 can go in strength. Okay, so those numbers are in, and they're actually going to start affecting things in our character sheet, but we're not going to look at those right this second. We will do a pass through of each tab in the end of the video so you can see what has changed. But for now, we're just going to either click the check mark or click outside of the box. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the persona tab, and we are going to fill this out. So there are 2 links that we're going to use. One of them is not going to be relevant right this second, but it is this link over here, DiceCloud V1 Helper. It has a lot of variables and formatting information and stuff that you can use to help set up your DiceCloud to be basically as automated as possible. It is not going to be relevant for this video, but I thought I would point it out because we are going to be using it for the next 2 videos. And And then the other thing that we're going to use is we are going to use this website called 5e.tools. This is the website that I like to use to get all of my D&D information, because it has pretty much every source that has ever been published, and it's free. And we like free things here, or at least I do. This is kind of the biggest reason why I don't use D&D Beyond, because a lot of the stuff on D&D Beyond you have to pay for to use, and I already own a lot of physical D&D books, and I don't like the idea of having to pay for the same book that I already own a second time. So rather than that, we stick it to the man and we use the free resources online. We are going to go, this is the homepage, we are going to go to the backgrounds. And I've already chosen a background for this character. We're going to make it very nice and simple, and we're going to go with an entertainer background. So you can filter out anything that you need to here, but you can also just scroll down and see what's good. So I click on the entertainer. It's going to show up in here. And we're going to start with the features right here. The skill proficiencies, tool proficiencies, and the feature and specialty. So we're going to start with all of this stuff. So we're going to go back into our character sheet, and in the persona tab, we're going to click on this green box that says background. We're going to edit that. This background box is going to give you an editable text field, and it's got a button that says add proficiency. And my biggest tip and trick for setting up a DiceCloud character sheet as quickly as possible, is copy paste as much as you can. It makes everything easier. So I'm going to type in here, and I'm also going to format as I go. I'm going to type in here the name of the background, and I want it bolded, so I'm going to put 2 asterisks on either side. I'm going to put a space and a dash. I already have a specialty pickled out. This character is going to be a dancer. That was their specialty. We're going to put the feature. The feature is called by popular demand. I want that to be bolded as well. So feature by popular demand. And then if I put a M dash and then a space, it's going to make a, I never remember what these things are called. I guess like a sub thing, a bullet point. That's what it is. So it's going to make a bullet point. So I just go in here, I'm going to copy all of that text for the feature, and I'm going to paste it in here. And when I close out of it, it's going to look like this. Okay? So pretty easy so far. And then I'm going to add my skill proficiencies and my tool proficiencies. So I'm going to click this button, add proficiency. I'm going to click it 4 times. So we've got 2 skills and 2 tools. By default, it's always going to be set to skill in this spot that says stat group. So we don't need to mess with these top 2 things too much. But for the bottom 2, we're going to change the stat group from skill to tool. And we're going to do that for both of them. So that changed this field over here. This makes this an editable text field, and so you would write the text in here. And we will do that in just a moment, but we're going to go ahead and set these skills. So the proficiency has a drop-down menu. It has a list of all of the skills for 5th edition, including initiative, which is important if you're playing a bard, or I guess for any other situation where you might need initiative to have some sort of bonus. We have acrobatics and performance. So the first one I'm going to set to acrobatics. The second one I'm going to set to performance. For the tools, we have proficiency with a disguise kit and one type of musical instrument. If I click on that and open up in a new tab, it should open up a sheet that already is filtered to show you all the instruments. We are going to give our dancer a proficiency in the flute. So in this first tab, in this first spot, we're going to type disguise kit. And in the second one, we are going to type flute. And that is everything that we're going to do in this background spot. That is all that we really need in here. So we're going to click out of that, and it's going to collapse down. It's not going to show the proficiencies here, but it will show them in the features tab. And then I'm going to fill in some of these boxes here. I'm actually going to pop into a different character sheet, open it up into a new tab so that I can copy the description thing from there. Again, copy pasting is your friend. I'm just going to grab everything from here and put it into here. And I'm going to add some spaces and do otherworldly patron, because that is the subclass for warlocks. Warlocks have an otherworldly patron that they gain power from. And the one that I have chosen for this character is the genie patron, and specifically a Merid, which is the genies are the elemental creatures from the different elemental planes. You have a Dao, you have a Jinn, you have a Merid, and an Efreeti. Merid is from the elemental plane of water. So that is what I have chosen. Alright, I'm going to click on this box, this description box, and I'm just going to fill it out. So her pronouns are she, her. Age, we'll say she's 23. Height and weight, she's really short, so we're going to say 5'2". I mean 4'2". Maybe not that short, actually. I might go 5 foot even. 5 foot even. Weight, she is 145. This does not matter so much. For the size, the fairy allows you to either be small or medium sized. At least I think it does. Let me just double check my work here. Species, open that up. The fairy. Nope, I lied. So a fairy can only be small. I don't need that. But I'm sure if your DM is nice, they would allow you to be creative with that. So I'm just going to go back to 4'2". For the height then, that's fine. And the creature type of the fairy is actually a fae. So the creature type is fae, and that matters for determining certain resistances to certain spells. Certain spells explicitly state in their text that they only work on humanoids, or they don't work on constructs or the undead. So I find that to be an important thing to note down. You can fill this out more if you would like to. You can absolutely put an entire background into this spot if you would like. But this is kind of the bare minimum information that I personally use in my games. If I do add a background into this area, I put it under a cut so that it doesn't make a big block of text. And I will show you how to do that in subsequent videos. We'll add some personality traits. I prefer to pick them, but I know that some people like to roll for them. I personally am more of a fan of just picking my personality traits or writing my own. So this character, she's a hopeless romantic. That's pretty much it. And she likes people, so she has an ideal of people. We'll put that in the ideals box. I like to sort of bold and format things as needed. So 2 asterisks on either side of text will make the text bold. 1 asterisk on either side of a text will make it italicized. So it'll show up like that. None of these bonds really speak to me, so I'm going to leave that blank. And none of these flaws really speak to me either, so we're just going to leave those bits blank. Again, you can put in your own things as much as you like. I like to personally update these boxes as I go throughout a campaign. Bonds, I'll usually put something about any significant bonds I've made with other players in campaigns that I play in. I like to note those things and update them as I go. But you can do basically whatever you want with it. It is completely up to you. And then the last thing in this persona tab is where it says bubbles. We click on this purple box. We can open it up and we can edit it. We can change the alignment. So I'm going to say they are neutral good. And hopefully I'm spelling neutral right. I have done things sometimes where I look at a word and it's spelled right, but it doesn't look correct. So they're going to be neutral good. You can fill in that if you want. You also can put a picture URL. So it has to be a valid picture URL. So that means it has to be hosted somewhere on the internet. But if you paste that into this box, it will actually add a picture to the character sheet. We will grab a picture right now. It has to end with a .png or .jpeg. End of the URL to be valid. I don't think .webp works. We can try it just for shits and giggles, but I don't believe it will work like that. So I'm just going to look up a picture of a ocean fairy. And I'm going to go to images. And I used to read this book series as a kid. We're going to click on that. Open image, a new tab. So this ends in a JPEG. So if I click it, copy it, and paste it into the URL, it's going to show up like that in this box. And then if I go over to the characters, it's actually going to show up here as well. So any character sheet that you see will just default to the initials in the character's name, unless you have a picture set in the background spot of the tab. In that case, if it is a valid picture URL, it's hosted somewhere, it ends in .jpeg or .png, it will show up in here and also in your character sheet. So we'll go back in. I'm going to delete that out because I don't want to keep that. I was just using that for demonstration purposes. And we are almost done with the persona. We're done with the persona tab. We are not quite done with the background. The last thing we're going to do for the background, I'm going to get rid of some tabs. Last thing we're going to do with the background is we're actually going to add the inventory. So it gives us a musical instrument of our choice, the favor of an admirer, costume clothes, and a belt pouch containing 15 gold pieces. So we're going to go into the inventory tab and we're going to manipulate that a little bit. So this is what the default inventory tab looks like. It comes with a coin pouch already set up. That coin pouch only has gold, silver, and copper pieces. If you want to add electrum and platinum pieces, you can either, I guess, convert them to gold/silver, or you can add custom items representing those and add them to the coin pouch. So we will start by adding those 15 gold pieces. There's two ways you can do this. You can use the plus and minus buttons. That can get kind of tedious, especially if you're doing big math. So we're not going to do that. You can do minus or plus. It works the same way either way. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do something a little easier. We're going to click on where it says gold pieces. Click on that text and edit it. And we're just going to change the quantity. You'll type that in. It'll update in the thing. You can see it changed the net worth up here. So it's reflecting that we have 15 gold pieces. And we are going to click out of that. We're not going to I'm not going to show you too much about the items individually unless we need to do something custom. But you can edit items that are already in the character sheet or make a custom item. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a musical instrument. So in the bottom right corner, you have the plus button. If you click on that, you've got three options. You have a container, which is what this coin pouch is. It contains things, groups things together, however you'd like to. You have item from library and item. Item opens up a custom item screen that you sort of saw an example of when we were editing these gold pieces. We can go over that in more detail, probably in the class video. But we're just going to use item from library. If you click on item from library, it's going to open up this screen. By default, DiceCloud has 4 categories of items. It has weapons, armor, adventuring gear, and tools. And this is basically all the items in the player's handbook. You can see that I have a bunch more categories. This is because it is using the item libraries feature. The item libraries, like I mentioned in the first video, that you can make custom item libraries as long as you have access to them, so you've subscribed to them, or you are a dungeon master like me and you have access to everybody's sheets and can edit them. You can add in items custom from any library that you have set up. So I have several libraries here. They are categorized by some random stuff that I've got, and then also different campaigns that I've run or am running, but we don't care about that right now. What we care about is finding a musical instrument, and we gave her proficiency with flute, so we're going to find her a flute. So this is going to be categorized under tools, and you can find it by 2 ways. You can either scroll down until you find it, or you can use the search bar up here in the top to search for it. And so this can really help you if you're having trouble finding what you need to find. If you can't find it in here, then it's not in there, and you have to make a custom item. But we found it, so we're going to click it. And we're going to click OK. And we've just added the flute to our inventory. By default, it's going to drop into this carried box. And you know how I said we weren't going to do anything about items? Well, I lied. We actually are. If you edit this and go into the item, you can see it is counting a quantity, the name. You can make it show increment buttons, which will add those plus minus things. If it requires attunement, this button should be toggled. You can equip it from here. It will have a weight and value attached by default if you're using an item from library, and usually some sort of description, and also a container, which includes any container that is in your inventory. And we'll get more in depth about this during the class video, but that's kind of the basic overview. We are going to add, the last thing we're going to add, it says the favor of an admirer. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to add some costume clothes. So we're going to click that plus button again. We're going to click item from library. Costume clothing is going to be in adventuring gear. So we can scroll down to clothes, costume, or we can just search clothes. Click on that. Now, if you are the kind of person that cares about what's equipped and what's not equipped, you might be tempted to equip the clothes because your character is probably wearing them. If you want to do that, you can edit it. So click on it, click the pencil, and click this toggle, which will toggle it into your equipment. Or you can simply drag and drop. We want Bubbles here to be clothed, so I'm just going to do that now. And that is it for the background section of this tutorial. So let's do a quick overview and see what all has changed. So let's start with our stats page. So as you can see, our stats page has changed quite a lot. We have those base ability scores in each of the categories, and those are actually applying these modifiers to everything that requires them to be modified, right? So it's going to apply this -1 to your armor class. By default, the base value is going to be 10. It's applying that to initiative. All of these are also applying to saving throws and to your skills. We can also see we have acrobatics and performance already, those are our proficiencies, so those skills are bubbled in. And it is actually going to add our proficiency bonus. So if we click on this acrobatics, we can see dexterity -1, okay? But proficient +2. And so we've got a total of 1. You can also see that we have a hit point bar and we have hit points. Well, we only have 2, which is a dismal amount, but it will get better, so don't freak out about that. But the benefit to DiceCloud is that it calculates your constitution modifier added to your hit points based on the level of your character. So when we change the level of your character, it's actually going to take that level, say level 5, and it's going to multiply it by your constitution modifier, and that's how many hit points is going to be added to your hit points. So when you add hit points to your character sheet, you'll never have to include the constitution modifier in that. It will already be included. And you can see this if you click where it says hit points, constitution modifier for each level +2. So that's all that's changed here. If we click on our features, we have 2 tool proficiencies. We have a disguise kit and a flute. Inventory, you can see that, we've already got all this stuff. Sometimes things in containers disappear. I don't know why that is, but you can click on it. It works fine. Spells has not changed, and it's not going to until we need it to. Persona, pretty much filled out. And journal, we have our race and our class. So our next video, we're going to be going over, we're going to start with the all the details of the species, and we're going to fill that in. So that includes the ability score improvements, any skills, and any features that come with that. And so we're going to bounce around a few places in the sheet to get that filled out. thank you for watching this. If it's helping you, then awesome. And if not, I don't know what to tell you. Um, my name is Athena, as I said at the beginning of the video, and I sometimes I upload to YouTube. I'm trying to do it more. Sometimes I am on Twitch and I stream usually simulation games. But mostly I am a professional dungeon master with Start Playing Games. And this is the character sheet that I use and have all my players use because it is customizable and free. So if you want to find me on any of those three places, my username is AthenaXVio. I will also add links in the description, including the link to DiceCloud version 1, as well as the version 1 helper and the 5e tools for your usage. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next part. Bye!